Anderson and welcome back to Gruen. We'll get to the panel in a second, but first, some brands have been having a shocker. You might have seen that Immigration and Customs recently gave birth to a love child, and like all celebrity couples, they gave it a stupid name, Australian Border Force. And what do you give a newborn? A $10 million branding campaign. In July this year, they launched with this high-end promotional video. Couple of new signs, new dog harness, and check out the fanfare for the launch itself.
There you go. That's midnight. We're officially Australian Border Force. Let's get to work.
There you go. It's midnight. We officially don't give a shit. The department is also spending about 15 grand on 2,000 Border Force branded plush dogs, which will be given to visiting dignitaries and international guests. They should give 2 to Johnny Depp. And in a Gruen exclusive, we actually have one here. Look, it's the Border Collie Force. Their slogan is, go back to where you came from. I reckon these dogs are like their brand. Stuff 7-Eleven, which is dealing with the Four Corners Fairfax investigation into how little its workers are paid. They're not spending much money on customers either. The very next day, it was 7-Eleven's annual BYO Slurpee Cup promotion. 7-Eleven, we underpay staff and you have to take your Slurpee home in a shoe. With more revelations seemingly every day, 7-Eleven should take the lead of Border Force and rebrand. The good news is knockoff 7-Elevens are all the rage in Asia. In Vietnam, it's 7 days. In South Korea, it's 7-7. And I'd do what this store in China did and call themselves 7-12. Appropriately, 7-12 is also what you'll be making an hour. Time to welcome our panel from Network 10, Russell Howcroft, and from Leo Burnett, Todd Sampson. Welcome back. They're joined by campaign edge boss Dee Madigan and the head of Pulse Marketing, Lauren Freed. Well, if you take one thing away from television in 2015, it should be this.
Tuesday. It's all new. Let's make you laugh out loud too. Tuesday on 7.
Thank God there was a sequel. There were so many unanswered questions in the first one. TV is now all about cat videos. Here at the ABC, we're not above a shameless ratings grab. So you want cute kittens? Here's a cute kitten.
Where to next? I'm the king of the world. Ooh, what's that? Now you're talking.
Whiskers helps nurture your cat's inquisitive nature, providing everything they need now and at every stage of their life.
Whiskers helps nurture your cat's inquisitive nature. Great. It's not like Curiosity ever famously killed anything. Tonight, our special subject is pet food ads, and there are so many things to talk about in that one. Not least the fact that the owner appears to keep that kitten in a cupboard. But let's start with the opening claim. Russell, all kittens are inquisitive. Are we really meant to be impressed by a food that promises to make your cat act like a cat?
What? Well, I think this ad is genius.
Oh, gosh.
Let me explain.
I guess nothing's changed in 2 years.
The genius of this ad, of course, is that this cat can talk.
You know the cat can't actually talk.
No,
right?
I know. But the genius is, of course, that a lot of cat owners live by themselves. And, of course, they talk to their cat. This cat talks back. Even better than that, that cat says that she is the king of the world. It's just...
Namely because it's a boy's voice.
Yeah, it's fascinating, though. It's a cartoon voice.
I don't know how genius it is, but it's certainly... there's certainly a trend towards pet parenting as opposed to pet ownership.
And you can go into Pet Barn and you can buy nappies for your animal. You can buy...
We have died and gone to a bizarre planet.
It's amazing. And, of course, then you take your dog in or your cat in with you, and if they do something on the floor, they don't mind. I'll just wipe it up. Don't worry about that. Because there's so much margin in this sector. Yeah, incredible margin in this sector because of our wealth. We happily indulge our pets.
That's why you like it, because it's overpriced food.
Yeah.
Sold to customers that can't talk back to us.
No, that is 100%. Absolutely, that's why I like it. It's because...
I love that you guys are arguing, but actually agreeing.
The first tinned pet food was horse meat in the 1920s because cars came in and they needed something to do with all the dead horses.
That's right. But this is the genius.
That's not genius.
No, this is...
Stop saying it's genius.
It is the genius.
I mean, something can be evil genius.
But the genius where they will put a pet food factory, cannery, next door to an abattoir in order to ensure that the animal is used in full, yes? So there are the cuts that are for human consumption. Then, of course, the bits left over, we'll whack them in a can, we'll stick a label around it, we're going to advertise that label, generate mass demand and sell a huge amount of it.
And the Wranglers. I mean, it's a difficult... Animals in shoots are always inherently difficult. We did one ad where the dog... There were two dogs, because you always have a dog double, because if the one doesn't... You know, once you start shooting, if that dog just gives up and doesn't want to do it anymore, you need another dog to go in there. The second...
That's like the ABC with me and Adam Hills.
On this particular shoot, the second dog went around the set and pissed in the client's Chanel bag. They're really difficult to wrangle on set.
What about cats, Dee? Because cats, to me, seem like they would be the hardest ones of all.
The trick with when you're on shoot is no one's allowed to go near the pets. It really is just the wrangler who does it, and that's you kind of leave them to do it. But they don't tend to have to do much because they just won't. You know what cats are like.
Can you lure them with things? Can you, like, you know...
Oh, that's how you train them. It's like that. I mean, the hardest one we ever had was a goldfish, believe it or not. And it died on...
Hard to remember the script.
No, well, it died on set, and we didn't have a spare one, so we just superglued it to the side of the bowl.
Fair enough.
Yes. Yeah. Russell would have walked in like, genius! You know, there's more pets than people in Australia, and feeding them costs us over $3 billion a year. Now, there appears to be a wide range of brands in your supermarket, but don't be fooled. Most of them are owned by two companies, Mars and Nestle. Yep, the people who make chocolate also make chum, which makes me wonder what's in a Kit Kat. Many of those supermarket brands use kittens and puppies to woo us, but others tried different tactics. Check out this recent ad from Dine.
Sometimes you've got to work a little to get what you want. A little grooming goes a long way. Don't walk. Sashay. And always let them know what you want. Then all good things will come your way. Lesson over. Dine. Pure cat appeal. Meow.
It's meant to be sexy, but I have 3 cats, so all I think is she's sexy, but her house smells like wheat.
But isn't this about independence? I think what's going on here is that this is appealing because this is strength, right? There is a strong, independent woman, and I think that they're sort of one and the same thing.
Oh, look at you, Beyonce.
No, for me, yes, she's sexy, but it's much more about independence, female independence and female strength.
I think everything about that ad is sexy, even the way she opens the can. Do we have that?
Oh.
Look how... Like, I fed 3 cats this morning. You do not open a can like that. It's away from your body so you don't get it on your hands. Yeah. She's in her best dress. She's about to have a date. She's no way she's like... Ooh.
I thought it was a Madman throwback.
Yeah, no. Cats are... You cannot control cats. She sees herself as an independent woman. Can you believe we're saying this? She sees herself as she is personifying independent woman that doesn't need anything else. She's like the cat. The cat doesn't need anything else.
She's not a cat. She's a woman.
No,
there is a scene where she actually shits in the corner in a truck. I watch a lot of pet food ads. Like, Todd, it seems to me that you never see a man in a cat food ad. Would that be right?
Yeah, 2 reasons for that. One is more women buy cat food than men. That's one reason. But the second reason is selling cute is really important in cat food ads.
But cats are female and dogs are male. Yeah.
No.
American.
Sorry, Dr. Carl. No.
I think they are. It's very unusual.
And how do they have babies?
That'd be weird. It's very Single males with cats is quite unusual. It's a small market, Will. It's a growing market. The urban, metrosexual, intelligent, independent male is a growing cat market, but it's not particularly big.
We put into our ads what we want to see. I think we're digging a little bit too deep on the Dine Christina Hendricks TV ad. It's just a sexy chick with awesome music. It doesn't have to be deep storylines when we watch campaigns. And especially when we see men on TV, we want them to be masculine. We do. Majority of us want them to be masculine. I don't want to see a man vacuuming or cleaning a bathroom. That doesn't make them hot to me.
With a cat.
With a cat.
With a cat. I'm with you.
There's almost never more than one cat in a cat food ad, but you can have as many dogs as you like in a dog food ad. Russell, why is that?
Well, of course, as we all know, more than one cat is it's crazy cat lady. You know, that's...
Is that what it is? Is there really...
Absolutely, it is. And also, lots of dogs equals lots of fun. And we know that a lot of cats here, you can't wrangle cats, right? You're just not going to get something that's attractive in an advertising sense. And it's certainly not going to be a great proposition because, as I said, it's crazy cat lady. Whereas people with lots of dogs, you know that's a whole lot of fun. You meet your friends, your neighbours down at the park, all the dogs get together, they have fun, you talk about the dogs. You don't do that with cats.
I'll be under my trailer.
Yeah.
Something else you definitely see a lot of in pet food ads is vets. Dentists won't show their face on TV, but you can't keep vets away from it.
As a vet, I recommend Pro Plan.
With every house call I make, I see dogs as a much-loved family member.
As a vet, I choose and recommend 4 Legs All Natural. Fresh from the fridge, 4 Legs is just like a home-cooked meal for your dog without the fuss, and it's complete and balanced. It's made with pure meat, veggies, and all-natural ingredients, including antioxidants for immunity. 4 Legs All Natural. It's like you made it with your own 2 hands.
No, it's not. And it does rule out that lucrative 3-legged dog market too. Todd. Sit, Dodd. Todd, what human need does the presence of a vet in an ad fulfill?
Well, from a marketing perspective, they're just mirroring how they sell human food by getting kind of scientific endorsement. And also, vets are the closest thing we have to a person that can speak on behalf of a pet. Since a pet can't talk, ideal customer, we feed them whatever they want, they can't say anything about it.
The danger with that sometimes is you remember the vet, but not what brand it's for. So unless they're actually sticking the photo of them on, they can tend to do a category job, I think, rather than the brand.
Sort of. No, I think that they're using, especially celebrity vets, it's a really strong way to promote their products, for sure.
Yeah, where vets are best used is on packaging, because at that moment when you're making the decision.
That's a fantastic thing to do, but...
Does it matter that when you go to the vet, it's none of the products that the vets actually endorse on television? Like, when you go to the vet, they have all different brands
They do, don't they?
that they sell there. Does it matter that there's a difference between those two things?
No, because in fact they're just two different sectors. One is just a mass media, mass marketing sector where the price of the product will be down, whereas that sector, where you go to the vet, the price will be much greater because that's the route to trade that product has decided to use.
That 4 Legs ad shows the product sitting with fresh herbs in the fridge. Looks more like an ad for pasta. It's a vegetarian stoner's nightmare. I know that for no reason. It uses buzzwords ripped from human food packaging. Fresh, pure, all natural, and it's got more ticks than a Heart Foundation approved meal. Why sell pet food like food?
Because we are increasingly humanising our pets, which is why in the pet food industry they don't call them pet owners anymore, they call them pet parents. And 85% of people view their animals as part of their family, so it's natural.
But isn't this the ultimate in just plain outright salesmanship? I mean, I have a hard time getting my dog not to eat its own vomit. Like, it's not picking through like other dogs' poos going, oh, is there couscous in here?
But you would do anything for your children. And as long as pets are seen as children, you'll pretty much do anything for them.
And there's the impact also of if something was to happen to the family pet, what that does to the children. So you have to look after, as the caretaker of the home, which is normally the grocery buyer, the mother, you have to care about everyone under that roof. And you do care about the medical side of things, and you also care about the mental side of things.
And so young marketers, they get a job at, let's say, a Mars, and they learn about the marketing trade. They learn about the price and the packaging and the distribution and the promotion.
Oh my God, you're so excited. This is like your version of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
The best thing that's happened to them now is social media and the internet, because now it's more transparent. Like, owners want to understand, or at least be able to pronounce the ingredients that they're feeding their animals.
Again, it's around your disposable income, your ability to pay. And if you've got enough money, you'll pay for a better product. But equally, there is a role to be played for the $1 can, because it's, you know, it's the stuff that they get out of the abattoir that may not otherwise be eaten, right? So, yeah, but that's it. They put it in a can.
I just got this image of Christina Hendricks hanging out in front of the abattoir.
Yeah.
I'm sexually opening this arseholes and kale.
I'm glad you witnessed.
That's gross. We looked at the mood-altering properties of cat food earlier, but one recent campaign goes even further.
Where you going? Huh? Rusty! Rusty! Hey! Hey, buddy.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them.
There you go. Pedigree will make your dog break up gang wars. Won't just make your pet inquisitive, it'll make your pet a vigilante superhero. I'm Bat-Dog. I imagine that's the dog. I'm Bat-Dog. Most pet ads pander to the human owner, but not all of them will give the last word to a marketer with more finely tuned sense of its audience.
Pardon the dog butt, humans, but at BarkBox, we just want to give your dog something they love. And since we can't teleport our monthly box of treats and toys into your living room, we're settling for the one thing that every dog loves. Another dog's butt. For 30 seconds. Sweet, sweet dog butt. Get your box for $18 a month at BarkBox.com.
They had to cancel the campaign because dogs kept humping the telly. We saw a super dog earlier, but if you really want to be a vigilante superhero, look no further than billionaire Republican presidential candidate, reality TV star, and a man who runs 515 companies, 268 of which contain his surname, Trump. So that's why this year we'll be asking, what would Donald do? Donald Trump fancies himself as a movie critic. Here he is a few years back doing his best Margaret Pomerantz.
So last night, I went to the opening of The Dark Knight Rises, which is commonly known as the Batman movie, and I'll tell you, it was really terrific. The movie is really worthwhile seeing, and most importantly, Trump Tower, my building, plays a role.
Yeah, Trump Tower is the most important part of The Dark Knight Rises. Who does Trump think he is?
I am Batman.
Just a quick reminder, he's running for president. This is Spin Cycle, where we put the marketing machine through the washing machine. This week, Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's the richest footballer in the world with an annual salary of 52 million US dollars, which is about 180 million Australian dollars. That should be enough to live on, right? Food, rent, he probably gets his sneakers for free. In the past year, he has made an extra $27 million in sponsorship deals. Turns out every part of his body is for sale. He sells his abs, his thighs, his wrist, and even his scalp in this bizarre dandruff ad. World's worst Matrix. But what obsesses us is Ronaldo's mouth and all the things he advertises that I don't believe he would ever put near that mouth. I don't believe that an elite sportsman chows down on KFC during a match. I don't buy that anyone who gets regularly drug tested would down this suspicious-looking herbal drink, although it would explain the KFC hankering. But most of all, I don't buy that Ronaldo's $1 million smile comes from using this Japanese device known as facial fitness. That final look is, I'm a corporate whore, but even I won't put that in my mouth. Australia, we're in the middle of an ice epidemic. Or, at the very least, an epidemic of people saying there's an ice epidemic.
The state's ice epidemic has taken a worrying new turn.
Tackle the ice epidemic.
Tackle the ice epidemic.
Australia's ice drug epidemic.
I believe that guy because he's walking. So far this year, the federal government has introduced several measures to combat this, including a dob-in-a-dealer hotline, the National Ice Task Force, and most importantly, from our perspective, an $11 million ad campaign. Here's the TV commercial at the centre of it.
They're as cold as ice. A can is twice as nice.
Come on, that may be the wrong ice ad. This is a serious topic. It's this one.
As an emergency doctor, I've seen how ice is destroying lives.
Did you finish that report?
I've seen people who can't sleep for days. People smoke it, not realising it can be so addictive.
No, Nick. Please. Son?
Ice tears families apart. I'm going
Oh, no, Nick.
Get off!
Some ice users dig at their skin, feeling like bugs are crawling underneath. And then there are the psychotic reactions. This can happen any time you use it. Ice destroys lives. Don't let it destroy yours.
Wow, worst episode of Offspring ever. That ad had it all. Doctors, cops, mothers, kids, violence, blood and gore. There was only one thing missing, Dee. Ice. Why wouldn't you put the drug in the ad?
Because there's actually a bit of evidence that shows that it can have the opposite effect. There's a saying in advertising, sometimes people don't know what they want until you show it to them. And that particularly works with drugs. In a 2008 study with teenagers who'd seen anti-drug ads were more curious about drugs than teenagers who hadn't. And curiosity for teenagers is a really powerful motivator because they are inherently risk takers and they seek sensation.
Oh no, and I've been feeding my kids whiskers and that makes them inquisitive.
I did some ethnography research with ice users, so we go to their house and stay with them for a period of time. And one of the shocking things I saw is at the time the campaign that was running was the scab, which is used a lot in ice advertising. It's the grim scab that they had built posters for the campaign. They had the posters up in their garage.
Yeah.
They had no problem with the posters. In fact, they quite liked the posters.
Wow. The campaign first aired in May this year on Switzer, a Sky News show about business. It's also aired many times during an MTV program called Club Bangers. Lauren, what's the most effective way to target that elusive ice demographic? Finance News or Club Bangers?
When you're identifying your targets, there's lots of different layers to that. You start with the demographics of that. So in this instance, this was targeting 14 to 25-year-olds, predominantly males and their parents. The next layer is the behavioural layer. So this ad needs to be talking to people who are at risk of being in a situation where ice is going to be presented to them and they're most likely going to say yes. That at-risk category is so small. We just find it's going to be very hard to target. But when we're talking specifically to 14 to 25-year-olds, they are heavy mobile users and heavy social media users. So what we need to be doing to that category is to that demographic, is always to be giving them some content that is of interest to them and they will share it. No one will share this commercial. If you had their people they respected and idolised, musicians and actors and sports people saying it's not cool, and gave them a great soundtrack at the back of it, that is something they're going to listen to, they're going to love it, and they're going to share it.
Is it a budget thing, Russell? Because it is only $11 million.
Yeah.
And if the problem is as big as the newspaper headlines would have you believe,
that's right.
Isn't $11 million for a whole campaign a tiny amount of money?
It is. And to me, it's a very interesting balancing act because, yes, I think there is a need to advertise, but how much money should you spend when you actually look at the numbers? Because 11 million, you're right, Will, 11 million is not a lot of money for government expenditure on what you want, behaviour change and society change.
If the ad seems a bit familiar, it's because it's a scene-by-scene remake of this 2007 version. That guy is still about to get the sack. He still doesn't treat his mum very well, and now this woman thinks there are bugs under her skin. Surely if the ad had worked the first time, we wouldn't be in the middle of an ice epidemic now. Russell, why make the same ad?
Well, because they would have lots of evidence to say that it's had some success. And, of course, governments are risk-averse. It's very hard to get something new through a government. That is a new advertising idea. The problem that I've got, I can't understand why they haven't done it the second time, they didn't do it the first time, is actually get some action at the end of the commercial. Like, what can I do? Who do I call? Who can I speak to?
Advertising can do many things. It cannot solve the ice problem. In fact, but unfortunately, we put the money and the energy into that because it's the most visible thing that we're doing. Government advertising is a lever, are levers used by the government for their popularity.
You wouldn't know it from Australian television, but there are other ways to make a drug ad. Check out this recent ad from Spain.
Create an opinion, your opinion. 1 more kilometre, 1 more length, 1 more fall. Create something that only you can do, something for which you need others, or that you can do alone. Create character, strength, pride. Create a failure, but say, I'll do this. Try. Create a why not. A just because. Create a place to be. Create a nonsense. Create what you like, but create something. Because the more things you create in your life, the less room is left for drugs.
Yeah, because the one thing we know about creative people is that none of them are on drugs. Going positive can be a high wire act, as the Partnership for a Drug-Free America found out in the late 90s when it released what I think is safe to say officially the catchiest anti-meth jingle of all time.
Look at me, busy as a bee. Where'd I get all this energy? Oh, meth, meth. I don't sleep and I don't eat, but I've got the cleanest house on the street. Oh, meth, meth. Get these hairs all out of my face. Get these bugs all out of my place. One more hit, no time to waste. Oh, meth, meth.
I've never thought I'd say this, but Ice Ice Baby is now my second favourite song about ice. That's all for tonight. Please thank our panel, Russell, Lauren, Dee and Todd.